there, guys. This is Vinney Chopra again with a great guest today. Just like you see me or hear me, watch me all on social media, I come live to you twice or sometimes 3 times a week now. So if you like the content, please give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes and the podcast and broadcast it all over. My show also, Vinney and Bo Show on Friday, which is a live show that many of you like to join, and that is on 12:30 p.m. Eastern or 9:30 Pacific. So today I have a great guest. Great guest, Robert Pereira, and Robert is from California, Southern California, Newport Beach, and he's just taken a very high level of earning so much respect in the multifamily field. He's done very well in his construction business before, almost $120 million of construction loans on this project and raised like 25 million. And the exciting part is lately when he got into multifamily, he was able to do within 2 years, raised almost $30 million of investors' money and done 100 million. And he's got great goals for 2022. So we're going to talk and just try to get into his mind, how he's taken such big leaps and bounce steps in such a short period of time. Hi, Robert. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, Vinney. Thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's spending some time and so forth like that with the family. But no, welcome. And, I just wanted to tell a little bit more about you, to the audience, if you would.
Sure. So my background, I've been in real estate since 2008. And with partners, I had a company that would buy predominantly single-family homes in Southern California. We would buy the homes that needed work, remodel them, and then sell them. We in the last few years we did a lot of new construction, but it was we would work with investors, give them a fixed rate of return to borrow money, and then in addition to that, use bank construction loans to buy properties, renovate and sell, or build ground up. A few years ago, I realized that I had more investor interest and investor capital than I could really responsibly put into projects in the single family space. So I was looking for another real estate investment opportunity. A good friend tuned me into multifamily. And so I started investigating. I picked up a few books, including your Syndication Made Easy book. And it was a great roadmap for getting started. So, I was able to read the book, spoke to you, became a private client. And then from there, using tools from you as well as others who've been at it a long time, got started, built up a network. I already had investors, but what I needed was a network to help me find deals, and was fortunate to start in the Georgia market with a really good contact that I have in Georgia in property management. From there, picked up over the last now 14 months, we're now on our third deal, and 670 units total, with a total portfolio value of about $100 million.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. So maybe, you tell the audience, like, what did it take? I mean, your mindset, and what was your desire to learn quite a bit so that you could, move faster? Kind of take us your early days.
Absolutely. I think, the mindset that I have is one where I want to model the success of others. So finding those people that have had the very specific success to what you're doing. Like, so just because if Vinney's doing it in senior living, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to do it in multifamily. I've got to look at what Vinney did in multifamily. Like, there needs to be a direct correlation so you can understand the different steps. But modeling success is one thing. The second thing that I would say is obviously having a belief in yourself, and the belief has to be that you're going to be able to accomplish things that you haven't yet accomplished.
Yeah.
Because in order to do new things, you have to have that belief that you can accomplish that with the help of others, but at the same time, having a belief that you too can do it through hard work. Mm-hmm. And so I think you start with that mindset, and then from there, you know, if you have that belief and you have a hunger for what you're looking for, there's a library of it. The world is your library of information. So then you just go about, you know, systematically putting things in place to build. You know, your book does a good job of giving people an easy to understand. You know, you do the spinning plates, as a concept, and it's very well said, because the reality is, obviously, you're not going to get everything out of just one book, but it's a good foundation for understanding the different pieces. And then you've just got to go about interviewing and working towards getting the expertise of people in all of those different areas. For a lot of people, I think starting out in multifamily, they may not know where to start. I think the key is to pick an area that you might be comfortable with. If you've got a good network, get comfortable with raising capital. If you've got a real estate background, then take that background and run with it as far as building a network of people in the real estate industry that can be helpful. And if you've got an operations background, then you can obviously look to see how you can add value to a team through how you do operations, through being organized. Just things like being on top of things, being able to, you might have partners. One partner can raise capital, another partner can find deals, but they aren't organized at all. So therefore, they're still going to need someone who can keep the entire team focused day in, day out on not only accomplishing the goal of buying an apartment complex, but then after that, executing it beautifully, so that way they can, it's only as good as the business plan. A business plan is only as good as your ability to execute.
So true what you're saying, Robert, and it's the facets, like the spinning of plate. Being from India, I thought jugglers spin so many plates when I was looking at it early on, 14 years back. It was overwhelming, literally, wanted to simplify it, and thanks for mentioning that you got few things out of it. So when you started, are you a partner now, or how it evolved then?
So I started by partnering with a local operator in Atlanta, who I've had a great relationship with. I've done 2 deals with him where I brought in the majority of the capital. My most recent deal, my company ARC Multifamily Group is the sponsor. So we did 100% of the purchase and raise and everything else. And this most recent deal is a $25 million purchase. It's called Hawk's Nest at the Preserve. It's in Gainesville, Georgia. We're closing on it in a few weeks' time. We did an $8 million raise for that, and we'd actually pre-raised the capital through our network, so we knew ahead of time that we were in a strong position to make good use of that capital. In fact, we've been able to pre-raise another $20 million right now that we are looking to deploy into 1 or 2 deals in Q1. So we work hard to kind of get a good idea of our capital raising capability ahead of time. We've done a solid job of building a broker network, using your advice on in being able to have brokers send us good opportunities, and we have to do the underwriting and everything on. But from there, it's just a matter of getting your hands dirty and looking at the numbers, getting expertise. You're going to find deals that don't work out too. I think one of the things that the one advice I'd give anybody at this point in the market is, it's free to learn. It's very expensive to buy a bad deal.
Yeah.
So it's better to maybe partner with those who have expertise, ask a lot of questions, do a lot of learning, and even if you don't buy a deal, it's that cumulative learning that'll get you closer to getting a deal, versus just being so hungry to buy something that you buy a bad deal, and one that might not have the greatest business plan, because then once you bought it, you own it, you've got to execute.
So true. I'm so glad you touched on that, because it's not just buying the deal. the main work starts after we get their skis, I
100%.
call it, and then working the plan that we told the investors and the projections, the assumptions, and everything to realize how to operate with KPIs on weekly basis if
Yeah.
we're vertically integrated or with a third-party company, so that we could, accomplish those results. So let's get back to like raising lots of money. So did it start like putting a PowerPoint together or credibility kit?
Yeah, so I had a good amount of investors that had been working with me since 2008, so that has helped. But in building the credibility in multifamily, I think what it boils down to is people want to get an idea of, even if you don't have a deal tied up, you can take a sample investment summary or you can create an investment summary for a deal that you're going after, and pitch that deal. But if you're just pitching something without concrete numbers of the kind of deal you're looking to buy, you're like to be able to illustrate to people your model with numbers, so they can understand what's in it for them ultimately. Hey, I invest $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000, and over 5 years, this is what the expected cash flow is. Based on the model, this is what the expected appreciation is that you get from growing the net operating income. If you're able to articulate that, then investors will say, when you finish a conversation with an investor, it'll be, two things. One, am I interested or not? And two, how much can I invest if I'm interested? And then you just, you build a list that way. You continue to educate them on the deals you're looking for. And then when you find that deal that works, they're already ready and they know that you've been working hard to find the deal. There's good symmetry to actually, be able to raise the capital without too much effort. But I think I think what I have also seen is a lot of people will tie up a deal and then hope the capital comes to them. And it's a recipe for disaster, because when you tie up a deal, you should be focused on the deal. If you have to be, there's nothing wrong with being somewhat focused on the capital raise. There needs to be some of that. But if the whole time that you have the deal tied up and you're supposed to be doing due diligence, instead you're stressing out about raising capital, then you might end up raising the capital, but you may not have done the due diligence properly, and so you still buy a bad deal. So it's really important to kind of not put the cart before the horse, and to plan ahead. And I think the easiest way to do that is to find a deal that fits. You can get a property. You might be able to get an investment summary from someone like yourself, Vinney, as an example. Find a deal that fits, underwrite it, put it in the investment summary. Even if you don't have the deal tied up, you can send it to your investors as one that is a sample deal of what you're looking to buy.
So true, so true. And you're so right, Robert. Not only that, the money has to flow to the emerging market where you're going to be building relationships with the brokers. So, it's so important that we show them in the deal, maybe a similar kind of deal that closed or didn't, but that way they know that, we are looking for Atlanta and why Atlanta is so strong and what parts of Atlanta, all that, plus the sample deal.
Absolutely. And I think it's all based on repetition, right? The more deals you underwrite, the more comfortable you get in underwriting. The more investor conversations you have, the more comfortable you get at having investor conversations. If I had to do 10 investor conversations in one day, I wouldn't even consider that work, right? Like for me, it's fun. It's fun interacting with people, being able to tell them what we do. It's not even like a hard sales pitch, because I already have the confidence knowing that I've got a long investor list. So when I'm talking to an investor, like you and I are conversing right now, Vinney, let's just say, I know you're a successful multifamily guy. So, if I was to, while I know that you could easily put $1 million behind one of my properties, I'm already in the mindset where I don't need the million because I've already raised capital. I want to continue to further the relationship with you, so that you want to come back to me when you see future deals and say, hey, Robert, I'm now interested in doing 200 or 500 or $1 million. But part of it is having so many of those conversations with people and practicing, so that you're pre-raising, but two, you're also not nervous about the conversation. It's very matter of fact. It's based in fact. It's based in being genuine about what you're trying to accomplish on an individual property basis. And I think if you do it that way, it becomes easier. It's same thing with looking at deals. You know, at first it's intimidating. The underwriting is intimidating, but if you do it enough, then it becomes more second nature. And then I think the third piece, obviously, is the operating. That's one of those things where you've got to get your feet wet, get involved in all pieces of the operation when you're first doing, properties. Until you hire out best-in-class people, don't just assume other people are doing the work. Like, double check everything. There's a lot of money trading hands, and I mean, you've been at this a long time now, 14 years, Vinney. I'm sure you've seen people do unscrupulous things, because nobody was watching them. So you have to watch too. I think you have to be on the ball, be focused, have a lot of repetition, and eventually success will come.
So true, so true. Few things which I really, really love what you just covered. We got to really start building the base with investors. The money has to be raised before the deal. So true. I mean, unless you are just miracle worker and within 60 days or 90 days, you're going to be able to do the due diligence, get the loan qualification, do all these environmental reports and surveys and insurance things, everything. And then you're raising money also simultaneously. Then you are in a turmoil. So much stress,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but having the investor base soft committed or hard committed, but it's just, you are not asking for money. They are ready to put the money in a great deal when it comes.
Totally.
So having them, I really appreciate what you're saying is you got to have those conversations. Sometimes it's tough. It's outside our comfort zone.
Absolutely.
To ask people, hey, are you ready to invest 100 or 2 or 5, and then do you have money available? Because,
absolutely. And with every investor, my mindset is, if they tell me yes, they'd like to invest, great. If they tell me no, to me mentally that means not now.
Yeah,
exactly. There's two reasons why they're not going to invest right now. They may not have the funds, which means that down the road they might have the funds, which is great, because everybody, it gets them thinking about, hey, if I don't have the $50,000 or $100,000 saved up right now, this looks like something I would want to be doing a year from now, 2 years from now. So they'll go about hopefully saving more money to be able to do that. So that's one reason why they might say no. They may not have the funds. 2, they might not have a comfort level of investing in either multifamily or investing with me.
Yeah.
And so then it's up to me through email communication, through showing them what I'm doing, through telling them how the success stories of opportunities, as well as when like I was in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, we didn't end up going forward on the deal, but I was happy to share details of the deal with my investor base because I want them to know that I'm out there doing the hard work. So when a deal does come about that is a winner that we're going forward on, they're that much more enthusiastic about getting behind it. So I think having that, it's almost like, be prepared for a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I've been doing the capital raising now for 14 years. And I actually expect to hear no.
Yeah.
Because that just means, okay, I add you to my list and eventually you're going to become a yes.
For sure. Not everybody's going to say yes. That's a great what you're just saying, because all those no's turn, later on, especially in relationship building business, those no's are for now no's. And hopefully we will cultivate relationship, make them feel more comfortable, and they might be in a better time to invest, like you said,
100%.
That way, never leave them, unless they say, hey, don't call me anymore. I just don't have the money or I'm not willing to, then we could, leave them. But otherwise through newsletters, through calls, through gift giving, things like that, right? And sharing with them the reason why they might really enjoy having this passive, right? All the advantages and everything that comes with it. And also IRA money. A lot of people don't know 401ks, IRAs, EQRPs that they could invest through self-directing. So that's also very, very important right there.
Definitely.
What do you think then, so your CRM, what kind of tools you find yourself
Absolutely.
really honing in, which is helping you
I've
build.
been using Appfolio.
Yep.
I through your relationship with
Yep.
Appfolio, I got
Yep.
involved with Appfolio, and I've liked the software. I use it for my communication now.
Yep.
So as far as CRM, keeping up to speed with people, I send out a weekly email to my investors,
Yep.
and it's open to anybody. So anybody who like my website's www.arcmf.com. If
Yep.
anybody wants to get on my distribution list, feel free. I'm Robert at arcmf.com. And then I just start sending, just like you're on my list, Johnny. Vinney, John is on my list.
I love it.
It gets people comfortable with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think 6 or 12 months later, or sooner, they'll
Yep.
say, "Hey, I'm interested in learning more. Can we set up a call to talk?" And so when they're asking you to set up a call, you already halfway there. They're asking for you to speak to them versus cold calling.
Yeah.
But the way to start that is by getting them on your email list, coming up with content that is relevant. Every once in a while, people might want to see economic content, but in general, and a prospective investor kind of wants to know what you're doing every week. Are you actually doing activities that are bringing you closer to a deal? If you're not doing activities that are bringing you closer to a deal, then start doing those activities, because otherwise, nothing's
So true. So true. Yeah, no. And the other part is the investors love when you tell them that I'm walking away from that deal because of these reasons.
Absolutely.
That really gets them to understand, you're not just doing deal after deal after deal after deal just to make, acquisition fee or whatever,
100%.
right? But you are analyzing it, you're looking through all the pros and cons, and then you're deciding to put my money at a safer place.
Absolutely.
That is so important. I remember when I started $50 million, fund, 2016 or so, I raised maybe, I don't know, 6-7 million, but I couldn't buy good deals or something. Then I returned the money. They said, "Vinney, why are you returning?" I said, I just can't, in my good conscience, put your money, this place. So no, thank you so much. What else could you share with, somebody starting brand new, what you have learned so far? What did they do? Yeah.
I would tell them to take daily action.
Yeah.
To not get too much in their head. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with being quantitative in your thinking and getting better and better at things like underwriting, getting better and better at knowing how to model your investor conversations so that you get a proper script and you know what to say, how to let the investor, really you want the investor to build a relationship with you, right? So anything you can do to foster that is great. But when people get too much in their head thinking, "Hey, I've never done this before, I don't have any experience." Well, everybody who's starting out has no experience.
Yeah.
So just assume that that's okay.
Yeah.
It's what you do today, tomorrow, the day after to add value every day. If you do it relentlessly, I think you'll get tremendous results over time. It's the inconsistency that people have. What I appreciate about you doing the weekly calls with your mastermind group. One of the biggest things I like about your mastermind calls is you're constantly pushing people to take action. You're basically, you'll tell people, "Hey, you can keep coming on my calls and we can look at each other's pretty faces." Yeah. But if you're not doing anything, just expect that 1 year from now, nothing will happen. Not a thing. So you've got to take that action. And if you take action in small steps, you realize that you're going to, the other thing I'll tell you is be comfortable with hearing no, because that just means it's an opportunity to think more creatively. You might tie up a deal, and then you have, after doing the due diligence, you realize the answer is no, you're not going to buy it. You might get a no, like I said, from an investor, but just treat that as not now. You might have a key principle that backs out because of a lack of comfort during a deal. That just means you've got to go look for another key principle. If you just keep moving forward and don't get discouraged by the no's, you beat most of the competition that gets very easily discouraged. So true what you just said. How many great nuggets you shared
Robert. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Happy to do so.
Really appreciate that quite a bit. I know you came in mastermind, you totally floored everybody. I mean, they were so excited to hear you and your story success.
I'm glad to hear that. And I think anybody can do it. I mean, it's just a matter of putting together the right team. And then, like I said, taking daily action and really working for it, because you will get the results if you put the work in.
So true, so true. It's hard work, smart work with great education and action. Moving
Absolutely.
the needle, like we say, right? You know, I mean, if you were happy or unhappy about the last 5 days, you can change the state today, you know?
100%.
Yeah, exactly. We could state can, like Tony Robbins talks about, right?
Absolutely.
Just change the state in a moment. I hope everybody listening to us, I hope you liked the content today. Thank you, Robert, for coming. And ARC Multifamily, right? It's arcmf.com.
Yes.
Please go, and he's got great resources, and I'm so privileged to have him in our mastermind and one-on-one coaching. And again, if you like the content, give us 5-star reviews so that we can rise high in the iTunes. Share this episode with other people that they can be motivated. And please join us again next week. This is Vinney Chopra. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Vinney. Appreciate your time.
Such a pleasure.